Man, there's been some other things that have kind of, like to how this thing's going to be shaped. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Let's get into that
so let's take
bit?
a look at some of the. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the concept drawings, and then let's tie this into what's provable. So, this will go in the wild speculation category. So, there's all kinds of pictures all over the internet. Here's one from Car and Driver. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And basically, the ones that people love to oogle are the boxy designs. So, there's been some renderings that are not as boxy. Right? Now, this one right here is what you were talking about, is the international version that looks a little bit more like a, I don't know.
Like a LR3 or whatever, like a little Rover. Yeah,
right?
yeah. So what we can tell you about that body style, if you want to move on into that, okay, you shared with me, I like that, actually. It's a small, boxy version of that.
Yeah, but that would be more of a Bronco. This looks much better than what we saw on the Ford video that was released.
Oh, heck yeah. But one of the other videos that was released recently, okay, the Bronco R, the Baja version of that.
That's their, that's their desert racer.
Correct.
Which it's a prototype vehicle that they took out in the desert.
It's a prototype vehicle.
Yeah.
Yes. And the front end of that thing looks like the Raptor front end.
Yeah.
But it's that boxy design that's very similar to what some of these renderings are and what some people are speculating. Looks nothing like this thing that you and I saw, saying, what are they thinking, man? It did not look like the Ford Ranger with a camper shell on it. So I'm thinking that's where they're probably going.
So the speculation with this is it's a secondary appeal. So we started this podcast and I was jumping up and down in my chair talking about the people that don't care about Broncos.
Yeah.
And what Ford could potentially do with something like this, and if you're listening, I'm holding up a picture of this like Bronco Sport type looking thing.
Yep.
That's a good fit for the crowd like my wife that doesn't necessarily care about an off-road Bronco but wants a smaller SUV. Right. And then maybe goes electric, right? Because they've already got the technology in the Mach-E and they're working with Rivian and all that, right? So you do something like this in an electric version and it's smaller and lighter. Yep. And then now all of a sudden you're appealing to that other group that I talked about. Everything's being divided. In the old days it was Ford versus Chevy, right? It was, are you a Ford fan or you a Chevy fan? I think the current version of that we're about to see happen is are you ICE? Are you internal combustion engine? Or are you are you EV? Right. ICE versus EV, right? Yep. That's where it's going.
Man, acronym man.
So
I'm acronym man.
Right. Well, yeah. So welcome to the automotive world, kids. So then we've got another rendering here. This is boxy. I don't know why I'm holding up. This magazine they did a good job of
They did, man. They did. And you know what? That color even is the old school blue that they used to use. But do we want to talk about something else that was really kind of like slipped out? The headlight.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's do this. So was it yesterday or the day before? Because we were gonna record this podcast, and then we rescheduled it because Jay had a snowmageddon situation. But
a foot overnight.
Then, no sooner did we just postpone it than a couple new leaks came out. And one of them was a picture of a Bronco in full camo. Yep. That is very boxy.
Unlike the previous pictures in camo. Again.
Right.
Again.
And this was... let's see if I can find this picture. I'm just looking through the stuff that I sent you.
Let's see here. It's 2021 Ford Bronco before you're supposed to see it. Photograph before you're supposed to see it.
Yeah, so this hit the newswire. All the major news organizations picked it up. Yep. I saw it on Motor One. I saw it on Fox. Fox News has been covering like a ton of automotive stories lately. What's that tell you? But let's see.
I can read from this. I've got this article up, I think, if you want me to.
Tires hanging on the back door, spare tire, full size.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so full-size spare. It also suggests that the Bronco will feature a live rear axle with coil springs instead of leaf springs and an independent front suspension. And they wanted to go on and say that the Wrangler uses coil springs all around, but has solid axles at each end that trade on-road refinement for improved articulation in extreme off-road environments. I get that. And again, this is all speculation, and they're not going to show you everything in a camouflage vehicle, so I don't know that I would say that that's the gospel. The Bronco's frame is based on the Ford Ranger, which we've said time and time again, and is expected to feature the same 2.3-liter turbocharged EcoBoost engine with a 2.7-liter. I'm understanding a 2.7-liter EcoBoost is also going to be an optional.
Yeah, so this is Ford, and I was about to say, if you think that Ford is going to offer you that vehicle with only one engine option, what rock did you just crawl out from under?
Exactly.
Just cracking myself up here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome to planet Earth.
Right. So, 10-speed automatic transmission. And I have also found that Ford said it was leaked information that they're definitely going to have a manual transmission, and there will be an option with a manual transmission as well as with a factory 33-inch tires on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Nice.
Hey, I'm going to go back to our podcast, 5 things that Ford needs to do. Those are 2 of the things that you and I discussed, and we were on the same page with that.
So this thing, as I'm looking at these pictures, so the one that they've got is a 4-door version. It is super boxy. Now the front end, they've got it covered up to the point where you can't even really tell what shape the headlights are. But Jay made an interesting discovery before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
What was that, Jay?
Well, apparently someone that is working on the project, let's see if I can find it here. There you go, right there. Get this. So, basically it is a round headlight. It looks very similar to what the old Bronco used to be. Way back when, the round, it appears to have like a running light in the center of it that will go across, into the grill, and then of course the turn signal to the right of it. It's all one composite piece.
Yeah, it's a composite piece. I was just about to say that. So what that means is it's got like the side marker, the yellow side marker, and then the round headlight, and then there's the center running light that Jay was talking about, and then there's another little light off to the side. Composite basically means it's all built into one part. Like you would just go, if you had to replace that part from an accident, you just buy that one thing.
The text with this said from a friend involved with the U725 Bronco. So that's the project here. So that's good. That's another thing that we talked about, 5 things that Ford needs to do, which was make this thing like the old Bronco, man. I mean, if you really want to hit it out of the park, do this. Do this, man. And I believe that's going to be happening.
Dude, this is, so as I zoom this picture, I am looking at a person's reflection. Now, I can't tell who the person is.
Oh, do you see the camo in the background?
Yeah, I do.
Look at that.
And you can almost tell if it's somebody on the inside. Looks like something's in another language. But cameras are good enough now on phones that somebody could get in serious trouble for this. I mean, there's not too many people that have access to this stuff. And this is...
You're right.
This is an interesting...
it's a good find. It's a good find.
Yeah, the other thing that I've noticed, which I'm not sure, either the person in the picture has a very dark ski mask on, or they have dark skin, but the hand holding the lamp is Caucasian. So there's 2 people involved, and one of them's taking the picture, or the guy had a ski mask on. Anyway.
Right. I'm going to say there were 2 people involved in that just to get a good shot.
Well,
that's a really good shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
there you go. So round headlights.
So
there's something else.
I'm going to throw that into the kind of the middle. It's likely going to be true because, we've got this coming from a source that says they're on the inside. We can see things in the picture like the camo, and there's some other kind of details that. And look, man, they've already shown that they're going to pay homage to the original Bronco design. So, it only makes sense that those headlights are going to be round. And I hope they are, because it's really good looking.
Well, so let's talk about paying homage to the original. There's a Japanese company.
Yeah.
Right? The Dronco, and that's with a D, D-R-O-N-C-O.
Now, you said when you saw this the other day, it looked like a Suzuki Samurai.
Well, guess
tiny.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually the Japanese custom car outfitter's dream automotive design and development, better known as Damned, is developing a Dronco body kit for the tiny Suzuki Jimny, which is pictured here. It's a 4x4 inspired by the original 1966 Bronco that will go on sale later this year. This is not going on sale in the USA. So,
but come on, man. You got the magic of Amazon and international sellers.
Absolutely. It features old-fashioned steel bumpers, a vintage-style grille, rub strips on the doors and fenders, two-tone paint job, white steel wheels, a roof ladder that will give a good old American and beautiful styling. And it's just that the pricing hasn't been released yet. But let's see. These guys, Damned, also sell kits that turns the $15,000 Jimny into a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon and Land Rover Defender. That's interesting.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, they don't sell a whole lot of those here, the Suzukis, but
but they used to. I mean, they sold a lot of those.
I can see where there would be a market for that.
Canada. I will guarantee you they'll be on sale in Canada. So don't be surprised if they're not going to be running around up there and seeing the Dronco. So anyway, again, to make the point, like if this thing wasn't, it's not even out yet, and it's wildly popular. I mean, yeah.
So I had a thought. This might be the most anticipated vehicle release ever in the history of Ford Motor Company.
I think so.
I
think so.
Now, in terms of like stuff you didn't know that was coming out and then it came out, okay, well that's a whole other story. But the anticipated releases, I kind of think this is.
I'm gonna go way up there, man. There's definitely, I'd say definitely in the top 5 of anticipated releases, if not number 1.
Yeah,
for sure. But and for good reason. I mean, it's been 24 years. It was 1996 when the last one rolled off the assembly line.
Yep, that was the OJ model.
That was the OJ model, and even those, I mean, they were still, pretty utilitarian. But they were moving away from that original body style. So I think what Ford had to consider was, okay, do we pay homage to the original body style, or do we do it to the OJ version? Yeah. I think based on some of the leaked photographs and some of the camouflage vehicles, I'm kind of seeing a little bit of each. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the challenges with all this anticipation, and actually the article in this I was reading, and the guy, he likened it to basically just Star Wars, which, just came out, The Rise of Skywalker. And I saw that, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you haven't seen it, just see it when it's convenient. Don't run out to see it, because it's a disappointment. So there's a fine line, and the guy that wrote this article kind of pointed to that and said, look, you've got to please this crowd that was born from your original creation, right? The original Bronco, or maybe the second or third generation Bronco. And maybe a lot of them had it, and they want to have another one that reminds them of that. And if you don't walk that line and you do something, for example, like in that picture that we saw, the one that looked like a Ranger with a camper shell on it, we'll call that the Rise of Skywalker version. you're going to disappoint a lot of people. And if you don't believe me, check J.J. Abrams' Twitter feed right now.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, they've got a big challenge in front of them.
They do, but I tell you, just from my personal perspective and my standpoint where I'm at right now, I don't need to buy a new vehicle, and it takes a lot for a vehicle to kind of like entice me to want to buy that vehicle.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, man, Ford has really got my attention. And I told you this when they released the Mach-E. I said, you know what? If I'm going to buy an all-electric vehicle, I want that one. And then now with this Bronco, I love the old Broncos. My wife is she's a big fan of those older ones as well. Her grandfather drove a old Scout that she absolutely loved riding in as a kid. And so there's that nostalgic feel that you get with it. And I'm like, I want to go buy a new vehicle even though I don't need one.
Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, sure. Scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple recalls that Ford, I'm not talking about the stuff like the airbags where it affects a lot of manufacturers. Sure. I'm talking about specific Ford recalls. Mm-hmm. Ford, since we've been doing this podcast, there's been a couple that we've talked about on the podcast that have been Ford recalls, okay?
Right.
Trucks and, okay.
Yeah.
When you see that stuff happen, I'm talking about when you see the Ford recalls, on a scale of 1 to 10 where a 10 would be, man, it's a huge deterrent for me and this is just making me think twice about a Ford product, or 1 or 0, which is like, don't care, whatever, it's fine. Where would you put those recalls? How do they factor into your Ford, to the appeal Ford has on you right now?
1.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I mean, they just handle their business.
Yep.
That's why. I know that if there's something out of the chute that's going to be an issue with these guys, and they've proven it already, vehicles that were not even in production yet or that were in production, they're recalling to take care of the problem on the upfront.
I have tried. Look, we've reported on Tesla plenty of times. We've talked about the Corvette. We're not like huge Ford fans. I mean, we try to be objective. Ask Tony Romo over there. But
right.
But I literally see those Ford recalls, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. It's not a factor. Right. I don't care. They'll take care of it. It's fine. And they're Ford. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they were dragged through the mud a little bit with the issues that the Ford Explorers were having with the exhaust. They were having, law enforcement people driving these things, falling asleep at the wheel, getting poisoned with the exhaust gas is what they were saying, claiming headaches, et cetera, and so on. And they, Ford was right in the middle of it. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Ford made the stock vehicle, very safe, and it's a very safe vehicle. They have really not a ton of control over what goes on from a modification standpoint once it gets into the hands of law enforcement, because they do, I think, guide them down the path to some degree.
Yeah. So they have to go for, except those are pursuit vehicles, right? Like you've got to basically take a vehicle that sits a little bit higher up than a passenger vehicle. So you're dealing with handling issues and, all that stuff, right? Camber, all that stuff. And they're trying to convert it to a pursuit vehicle, which is not the original. Ford doesn't design those and go, how many can we sell to the police? Now, if it, sometimes if it's like the LTD, it becomes, an afterthought, then they go, well, we need to keep those guys in mind on the next model year. But I guarantee you, they're not thinking right now with this Bronco about how many can we sell to the sheriff's department, right? Like it's just not at all. Now if they buy them and they mod them and it suits their purposes, that's fine. But
you might have military interest in this thing. Government contract type stuff, where a border patrol, maybe federal prisons, groups like that. That might be interested in purchasing something like that. Let's say they're in rugged terrain and they have to, chase after these guys that escape through tunnels that are, you know what I'm saying.
When did this turn into a South Park episode?
Like 5 minutes ago, I think. Anyway, so yeah, there you go on that. That's my take. Yeah. Anyway, so. What else we got on this thing, man? I'm looking for. We've dug up so much information. I don't know that we can hit it anymore. We've talked about the engines, transmissions.
Yeah.
We've given you the facts that are out there about the slipping of certain patents.
Yeah.
Design features that have been leaked. To me, in a nutshell, this thing is going more and more and more into what we think it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would buy one. The recall status of what Ford's got going on, I would buy one now. I mean, I'm like, I can't wait, man. I mean, that's why I said what I said. If there's any one automaker out there that has really had me on the edge of my seat, that's making me want to go out and buy a new vehicle right now, it's these guys, just because of what they're doing and how they're handling their business. So,
there's podcasts that sometimes I just feel like, this is one of our. I mean, look, we've brought this thing all the way back around from the concept of a concept vehicle to production secrets to why this matters to people that don't care about Ford Broncos and the bigger picture. And I mean, I kind of think we're we've done our job for the day, right?
Oh, absolutely. We definitely have, man.
So how about let's see, where do we want to go on? You want to do some of the social? I will. I'm going to give everybody a heads up on where they can find this and everything. But
first and foremost, one thing again, Keith and I are really trying to bring awareness to some of these recalls that are going on out there because they're some pretty serious ones. We've got a Takata airbag recall that we put out on our website. We just did the Toyota one. This is something that we're trying to be more focused on and trying to get you guys the best information. So you can find all of that information and much, much more at partscounterguru.com. Anything that we mention on our podcast, such as the Ford Bronco vintage T-shirt that Keith had mentioned, it will be right there under mentioned on the podcast. You can also shop for all of your needs on Amazon by clicking through. If you look at the upper right-hand corner of our website, we've got a Amazon link. Please click on that, shop for whatever you need, put it in the basket. It kind of helps us out a little bit. It's completely anonymous, right? We don't know who you are. Is that right, Keith?
That's right.
So technology limits us from the privacy of your purchases. We can't see that. But we would appreciate it if you would use that feature. To follow us on some of our social media spots, for Facebook, you'd want to go to facebook.com/Parts Counter Gurus. Over on Instagram, we are at instagram.com/The Parts Counter Gurus. That's right.
You're looking at me like I would know.
Yeah, no, you do know. You do know. I was just looking for affirmation there, but that is definitely what it is.
Something about blind leading the blind. If you look over here, or something like that.
Right. And also for this podcast and any of our other podcasts, you can go to our website and follow the link to all of our podcasts. It's a simple tab, says podcast links. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, TuneIn, you name it. And we're expanding even further. I think we might even be going on Pandora Podcast soon. If I don't know what Keith's got going on behind the scenes from that standpoint, but I'm pretty sure we're going to try to.
We're looking at some stuff. Plex, Pandora.
You got it.
The other one that hasn't come out yet. Yeah.
Exactly. Over on our YouTube channel, you'll find the video podcast there. You'll also find a lot of helpful videos, product reviews, videos on recalls. Our podcasts are there. We want you to do this, though. When you are on our YouTube channel, we want you to subscribe, because that subscription means the world to us. Remember, it's free to you, but it's priceless to us. And while you're there, and if you like what you're seeing, you like what you're listening to, give us a thumbs up, and then ring that bell to get notified every time something else comes out. So
I'm going to take that one step further, and I'm going to ask that you tell a friend. So
Ooh, I like
if
that,
you
yeah.
if you are doing any of the things that Jay mentioned or all of them, thank you. If you want to help us, the absolute number one way you can do that is to tell a friend. All that other
That's
stuff
it.
is absolutely important. There are bandwidth costs and all that other production stuff. But the way we sort of get to keep doing this is if our audience grows, and that you can do simply by just telling a friend and going, hey, check these guys out.
Yeah.
And look, man, if you don't have any friends, just go find a coworker's computer, go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/parts, the Parts Counter Gurus.
That's right.
And click the subscribe button for them. They'll never know.
They'll never know. Yeah, it's free. It doesn't cost them a dime. Trust me. Just a little bit of bandwidth. That's about it. Yep. Not too much. So stream away, folks. Stream away. Stream.
All right, everybody. So in true Mr. Rogers style, I think we've learned quite a bit today. But most importantly, that if you don't have an SUV, you'll soon have to. No, I don't.
That's almost an Apple.
Yeah.
That's like If you don't think you need a cell phone that does everything for you, then yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to stop while we're ahead here. So, until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. That is Jay over there. I am Keith. And remember that it's good to be good. So, maybe next time you be nice to that Jeep owner and do some nice things for him instead of the negative, right?
That's it. I like that.
It's good to be
nice
good.
To your Jeep owners. Good to be good.
See you next
Later,
time, guys.
guys.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Bust in here with yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I changed something. I had you to the other side of my screen, and I kept getting goofed up. So if I'm going to feel like I'm going to point at you, there you go. It works that way. So yeah.
All right.
So
you good?
I'm good, man. Just clap her out.
Oh,
you got
right.
the clap?